In this episode, the ROUSes get to practice their backwards paddling while exploring thick mangroves.
Then, they take a drive across the magnificent Everglades National Park.
Hi, we're Tandy and John, two retirees who are paddling, hiking, and eating their way across America, one small trip at a time.
Come join us on our road trips of unusual size. Well, here we are driving up and down the Florida Keys. We're nearing our departure date and are trying to get in all the paddling that we can.
Our base camp is in the Middle Keys, about halfway between Key Largo, way up at the top, and Key West down at the bottom. We're staying on Long Key in the small town of Layton, and here's a satellite image of our island.
That red arrow is pointing to the mangrove forest that dominates much of Long Key. We've been exploring this complicated marine ecosystem for about a week now. This arrow points to the community of Layton, and we're staying here in a vacation rental that's perched over a waterway. That's enabled us to launch boats quickly from our base camp and directly into this mangrove forest. It's been an ideal setup for us.
This footage is from our last paddle on Long Key. All week, this place has been showing off a fascinating array of birds and sea creatures. Manatees, sharks, turtles, jellyfish, you name it. When paddling here, you're never really sure where to look because an exciting discovery can come from above or below. We'll show just a little footage from this paddle that took place under a clear blue sky.
Paddling in the Keys typically means paddling in mangroves. It's pretty different from the grassy marshland paddling that we're used to on the Texas coast. It's often like exploring a hedge maze. You see a little gap and wonder what's back there, so you paddle in and often run out of room and have to paddle backwards to get back out. Turning around is usually impossible. If you're considering paddling these waters, practice your backwards paddling.
As we wrapped up our last paddle here in the Keys, we reflected on all the amazing things we experienced. Many come down here for the party atmosphere of Key West, but that doesn't interest us. Just offer us a deserted mangrove forest to explore, and we'll choose that every time. Thanks, Long Key. We'll be back.
But now it's time to head north, and that will take us to the Everglades. And that's a big area. You can see that from this map. Unfortunately, we hadn't scheduled enough time for a thorough exploration of the Everglades, but we did want to cover as much ground as we could.
Our plan was to leave our Long Key base camp and make our way to the Ernest Cove Visitor Center at the entry to the national park. We'd explore that area and then travel the Tamiami Trail Scenic Byway across the state and over to Everglades City.
Well, we shot video during our crossing, but this aerial footage from the National Park Service will show you a better perspective than our view from down on the trail. Everglades National Park is the largest tropical wilderness in the United States and the largest wilderness of any kind east of the Mississippi River. The park is the most significant breeding ground for tropical wading birds in North America and contains the largest mangrove ecosystem in the Western Hemisphere. 36 threatened or protected species inhabit the park, along with 350 species of birds, 300 of fish, 40 of mammals, and 50 species of reptiles. As this footage shows, it's a remarkable place. The next time we're down here, we'll dedicate more time to the Everglades. I think we'll launch kayaks at Flamingo and explore some of these waterways. At the western end of the Tamiami Trail, we arrived at Everglades City. This place has been on our bucket list for a long time. Everglades City can be found about 200 miles south of Tampa, sort of at the junction of the Everglades and the 10,000 Islands area. It came into being in the 1860s, but didn't see much growth until the 20s. The Tamiami Trail Highway started construction here, and, with quite a bit of promotion, Everglades City became famous as a sport fishing destination. This sportsman's mecca centered around the Rod and Gun Club. The clubhouse was built in the 1880s and has been a going concern ever since. It's hosted numerous U.S. presidents, Hollywood stars, the rich and famous from around the world. They all come for the fishing here.
This is what it looks like now, exactly the same as it always has. The polished walls and floors are cypress that was milled from the Everglades. Much of the furniture and the trophies on the walls go back 100 years. There's still no air conditioning, and they only take cash. We ate lunch there overlooking the river and thought about all the history in this place. The food and service were excellent and reminded us of more genteel times. Ernest Hemingway spent a lot of time here, and we could almost imagine him over there, leaning against the bar.
So what's next for us? Well, we're heading north toward Fort Myers, where we'll visit Sanibel Island. We want to paddle the remarkable Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge.
Then we continue north to explore rivers and do some cave snorkeling. Thanks for watching. See you next time.